You ready? I would like to call this meeting of the Brick Township Council to order. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided and published in the Asbury Park Press and the Ocean Star on December 18, 2020. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspapers and posted on the public bulletin boards and the Township website. Thank you for participating in tonight's Township Council meeting. The COVID-19 pandemic prevents us from meeting in the traditional way, but we have adjusted accordingly so that we can continue to conduct the business of the Township and serve our residents. This meeting is available through the Zoom application, where you can see and hear tonight's meeting and participate during all public comment periods as you would if we were all together in person. To ask a question or comment, please click on your device and a bar will appear on the bottom of your screen. One of the icons posted there is a raise your hand button. Click that to indicate that you have a question. We can see that and will call on people one at a time. Questions and comments are also welcome by email. The address is publicmeetingquestions@bricktownship.net. We are checking that email throughout the meeting and will read those questions into the minutes and respond accordingly. Councilwoman Zapsik.
Here.
Councilman Minikino.
He's muted.
Here. Here.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Here.
Councilman Mumolo.
Here.
Councilwoman Pontorero. Councilman Halloran.
Here.
Councilwoman Crate.
Here.
Thank you. Please raise for a salute to the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would like to now call for nominations for the 2021 Council President.
Madam Clerk, I would like to make a nomination. On January 1st, 2020, I had the honor to nominate Councilwoman Lisa Crate for the office of Council President. Having served with her for 4 years, I had full confidence that she could ably carry out the duties of the office. Little did any of us know that New Year's Day what 2020 had in store for us. Throughout the course of last year, not only has Councilwoman Crate carried out the duties of the office of Council President, she has done so under extraordinary and difficult circumstances and without ever losing sight of the core values of kindness and caring that she brings to the dais. Therefore, I would like to nominate Councilwoman Lisa Crate for Council President for 2021.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, may I have a motion to close nominations?
Make a motion to close nominations.
Mumolo, second.
Somebody second.
Thank you. So I will take the roll for the Council President for 2021 for Councilwoman Lisa Crate. Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Mumolo.
Yes.
Councilman Halloran.
Yes.
Councilwoman Crate.
Yes.
Thank you. At this time, Mayor Ducey will swear in Council President Crate.
Yes, it was my pleasure to be able to swear in Councilwoman Lisa Crate for her second year as Council President. It was a great year in 2020 working with you as far as council meetings. I know it wasn't a great year in all other extents, but working with you as Council President, you did a great job organizing the meetings and having everything under control under some very severe, difficult times. So I'm very proud to do this oath of office.
Thank you. Oh, we're the same.
If you can repeat after me. I, Lisa Crate,
I, Lisa Crate,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of Council President
of the office of Council President
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability,
And that I solemnly swear
and that I solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear
and that I will bear
true faith and allegiance
true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, I believe Councilwoman Pontorero is present at the meeting.
Thank you.
At this time, I will call for nominations for the 2021 Council Vice President.
Madam President, I'd like to nominate Councilman Arthur Halloran. As your backup last year, I'd like to include him again for your backup for this year. He did a great job, and would like to continue, and hopefully we're going to have a better year this year coming up.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, may I have a motion to close the nominations?
Menachino motion.
Zapsik, second.
Roll call?
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Momolo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Vice President Halloran.
Yes.
President Crate.
Yes.
Thank you.
At this time, Mayor Ducey will swear in Council President Halloran.
Yes, I'm equally proud to be able to swear in Councilman Halloran. Again, did a valiant job as Council Vice President last year, and getting a do-over here in 2021 is a great thing, since we didn't get the full experience with the Council President, Council Vice President seats. I know 2020 was especially hard for you, Art, so it's a great thing that you've agreed to take the position of Council Vice President.
Thank you.
I, Arthur Halloran,
I, Arthur Halloran,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of Council Vice President
of the office of Council Vice President
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
and that I solemnly swear
and that I solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established in the United States
and to the governments established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay. Okay, and are you ready, Mayor?
Sure.
All right, now we are going to hear the opening remarks by Mayor Ducey.
Thank you, Council President. Last New Year's Day, I stood in this room and asked for 2020 to be the year of unity here in Brick. I asked for residents to work together, no matter the side of town, no matter the age, and no matter the different background. At that time, no one realized what was in front of us, and no one realized exactly how much we all were ultimately having to unify and work together to get through the worst possible scenario, which was 2020. We have gone through a lot together. We have experienced, witnessed, and certainly have heard of sickness, death, financial ruin, social chaos, isolation, and many other things occurring around the country and across the world. Here in town, we had to, and we continue to have to, do what we do, which is serve the public. It's not an easy thing to do in 2020. First is an obligation to the taxpayers financially. To that end, 60 employees decided to take a COVID furlough. They did so selflessly to help co-employees and help residents by helping our budget. The employees who stayed at work, selflessly also, worked harder than ever because they were then doing the job of 2 or 3 others or risking their own health to keep the services of the town going. Services that reached record highs for a number of things. This was an interesting year in 2020. We had the most ever leaves put out to the curb for our leaf pickup. The most ever gun permits ever applied for, by far. The most ever storm debris ever put to the curb, with the exception of Sandy, due to that August storm, where we agreed that the township would pick up the various storm debris as opposed to hiring an outside contractor like we had to do with Sandy because of that sheer volume. The most bulk pickups. The most season beach badges that were ever sold. The most wellness calls made to seniors. The most recycling and garbage cans ever sold. The most calls to code enforcement. The most food deliveries ever made. We had to adapt to the times and come out of our comfort zones and offer variations of our own. So these are things that we normally did, but we had to do them in a different way. So this year we did drive-in movies at Drum Point Sports Complex. We provided high school athletes with a final friendly, which is a final game or match in their high school careers, because they weren't able to do so through the school system. Dinner and movie for seniors, which was done at home, where the dinner and the movie was seen on B20. The police created a good-to-go website. So instead of doing their normal crime fighting and traffic safety, they created a website called Good to Go, which was to advertise open restaurants and open businesses in town so that people know where they could go to shop and support the economy. Our recreation department created Play at Home, which included chalk drawing contests, Friday night karaoke, Halloween house decorating contests, a recipe book, and other activities. Recreation also became the hub for donations by all of our great residents of Brick Township for the hospital staff for our hospital right here in town. Many, many things were dropped off, boxes and boxes. Virtual inspections were done by our building and engineering departments. Our police and our EMS had to respond to calls by wearing much more than they used to have to. All the PPE, the masks, the gloves, and other equipment to keep them safe and keep them healthy. Our senior buses in town turned into food delivery trucks. The council passing ordinances that other towns followed. Our ordinance to allow restaurants to serve food and alcohol outside of the buildings, for example. Our council passed ordinances that other towns followed to allow gyms and dance studios and fitness centers to operate outside their buildings. And if there was no place outside of their buildings for them to go to, they were able to operate fully at the Havens Farm Park off of Herbertsville Road. We successfully lobbied the state to allow for a longer penalty-free grace period to pay property taxes, helping out our residents in a time of need. Virtual court has taken over, where similar to the Zoom meeting that's going on now, people attend court by way of Zoom. There was times where we had our EMS taking temperatures of every single employee every hour of the day, right here in Town Hall, at DPW, at seniors, at recreation. Every single employee had their temperature taken, and the EMS were here 24/7. The IT department had to find the virtual meeting option, going through all the different options at a time where they weren't well known, and now everybody knows about Zoom and GoToMeetings and everything else. They had to find what was the best option, and then now at this point they're still setting up Zoom meetings, sometimes 4, 5, 6 a day. We have virtual planning board, virtual board of adjustment, virtual council meetings, virtual senior advisory meetings, student advisory meetings, property maintenance board, everything we do by virtual. Our construction department had to learn how to build COVID barriers, and still are doing that now. Our senior services have created virtual yoga, virtual Tai Chi, and virtual art so that our seniors can still be active even though we can't get together at this time. Our sign shop is super busy. Most signs ever in a year. Signs that the parks are open, signs that the parks are closed, signs to stay 6 feet apart, signs to have your masks on, and other different signs coming up and down throughout the year depending on what the governor did with our various programs in town. We also continue with normal activities as best we could. Those are the ones that we totally changed and everything is different about them. But we completed Bayside Park, which was long wanted. We wanted to do it before Sandy and had to wait until all the different state activities and federal activities were done. and now it's a beautiful park that many people will enjoy. Brick Beach 3 parking lot was paved. The Drum Point turf field was replaced. We hired an environmental engineering firm that we had to go out and find to create a short-term and a long-term plan for our sunny day flooding parts of town. We paved over $2 million worth of roads. I had the opportunity to testify before a Senate committee about school funding. The Traders Cove concerts continued. Our farmers market continued. Bocce League. We were able to hold 4 neighborhood flood mitigation meetings, although they were virtual. We held our summer camp. The Bay Harbor Beach playground was replaced. Our 9/11 ceremony took place as usual. The census was going on while all this was happening. Craft and yard sale continued. Our Challenger Halloween, our Autism Surf Day, our Trunk or Treat, the first ever Thanksgiving market. Building and Grounds built an entire detective bureau in Town Hall, in the basement of Town Hall. The council passed an ordinance for higher bulkheads to help the flood-prone areas. Our road crew from DPW installed 10 check valves, with 4 more to go in Phase 1 of the valve installation, to help, and depending on how low your elevation is, to resolve the sunny day flood issues that we have throughout the town. Our Veterans Day ceremony continued. Our Christmas tree, menorah lightings, all continued. We lost businesses, but through hard work and making Brick business friendly, we added more than we lost. This year we added Lidl, Gravity Vault, Balance Wellness, Osprey Technology, New Jersey Swim, Moneras, and Sunny Side Up Cafe. 2021 will see the opening of Corrado's and some of the other businesses that are starting to go through the planning process. The whole township was brought together by our 12-year-old Brick Little League All-Stars. They won the New Jersey State Championship and gave us all happiness and pride at a time that we needed here in town. The town celebrated them with a great parade to honor their awesome achievement. And although we will never get the chance to see them on ESPN, know that the Brick Little League team would have been world champions in 2020. The town came together and ordered takeout and delivery, had volunteers picking up food from grocery stores and delivering to those who were sick, those without transportation, or susceptible to catching the virus. Residents were promoting small businesses on social media, even though they didn't even go to the businesses themselves. They wanted to help the economy. Community groups, church groups, offering services to help feed people, keep them in their homes, help them pay for utilities and other needs. I want to remind you that 2020 was also the year when we rediscovered a spirit of togetherness, of community, and of unity. It was the year in which we kept Brick Township moving forward in the biggest crisis we've faced for most of our lifetimes. 2020 was unity, and now the theme for 2021 is hope. Hope for health, hope for COVID-free, hope for economic recovery, hope for time with friends and family, and hope that the good of 2020 can remain with us. The saying hello to strangers on the street while walking, the eating dinners at home with the family, playing board games, thanking police and EMS and volunteer fire and truck drivers and grocery workers and teachers and DPW workers and maintenance workers and people who are cleaning and keeping things clean and safe, and factory workers and nurses and doctors and all others who continued to work outside the home, away from their families and comfort zones, while everybody else was at home in the stay-at-home orders for all those months. Hope and knowledge that Brick is unified as one town, no matter the north or south, no matter the age, no matter the race, sex, or background, unified to continue to be the best town in the country. 2021, the year of hope. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we are going to hear from the mayor again to talk about the appointments for 2021, correct? Sorry.
That's all right. Yes. There's a number of them, so I know you've heard my voice a little bit, but congratulations to all the appointments. These are only the mayor appointments, and with regards to this, we had a number of resumes that came in. We have a number of people that were just being reappointed because they've done such a good job over the last few years. So for Architectural Review Committee, Michael Webb is a resident member, Anthony Zarilli, a resident member, Alyssa Cummins, the township engineer, and Tara Paxton, municipal planner. For BMAC, Councilwoman Andrea Zapsik as the public official mayor designee, Chief Jim Riccio, Chief of Police, Earl Mosley, the Board of Education representative, Nina Ratino, Student Assistance Coordinator, Roberta Cartwright, PTA member, Gary LaRosa, Parent Guardian, Carl Jordan, Youth Services Organization representative, Marilyn Lago, Civic Organization, Ed Bucher, Faith-Based Organization representative, Al Contrucci, Private Citizen with Interest or Experience, Jimmy Barassia, Youth Representative of the South, Krista Grev, Older Adult Representative, and these are official titles from BMAC, Lindsay Dunholz, Individual Affected by, Arlene Carroll, Healthcare Professional, Edward Maroney, Media Representative, Johanna Palmieri, Public-Private Prevention Representative, Dawn Alissi, Member, Carol Steiter, Member, Sandra Hawthorne Tormey, Member, Michael Tulane Senior, Member, Angelo Severino, Member. Environmental Commission, James Dulong, Member, Tony Kono, Member, Jill Kowalski, Alternate 1, Raymond Lechien, Alternate 2. Historic Preservation Committee, Deborah O'Brien, Class B Member, John Brunis, Class C Member, Catherine Reed, Class C Member, Bill Smith, Alternate 1, Emily Waller, Alternate 2. Planning Board, Matt Fagan, Cosmo Ochagrosso, William Phillipson, Kevin Nugent, George Osipovich, and Daniel Ward. Property Maintenance, Stephen Brill, Member, Ed Bucher, Ron Gaskill, James Hogan, Sandra Thomas, Joanne Bergen, Rich DeGennaro, and Daniel Newman. Shade Tree, Dolores Henry. Sustainable Brick Township, Robert Checkeye, Councilman Vince Minichino, John Hyphantis, Ken Mathis, Victoria Pacala, Stephen T. Specht, Keith Rella, Sharon Ercoliani, Brian Mursky, Jessica Clayton, Carly De La Hoz, Paul Kurtz, Sarisa Peterson. And the TNR Committee, Joanne Bergen, John Talty as the chair, and Scott Smith. Thank you, and congratulations to everybody, and we look forward to working with all the different committees in 2021.
Thank you. Okay, we are moving on to the consent agenda. Madam Clerk?
All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Thank you. Resolution 13-1.
Establish council meeting dates 2021.
This resolution establishes council meeting dates for 2021. 13-2.
Establish bank depositories cash management plan 2021.
This resolution adopts a cash management plan and establishes bank depositories as part of that plan. The cash management plan is an annual requirement for all municipalities and is developed by our CFO in accordance with local fiscal affairs law. Resolution 13-3.
Authorize 2021 temporary budget.
This resolution authorizes a temporary budget as required by law to be in place with the first 30 days of January. In accordance with state statute, a temporary budget, which equals 26.25% of the total appropriations of the 2020 budget, the sum of $21,509,237.82, is authorized as the township's temporary budget. Resolution 13-4.
Designate public agency compliance officer.
This resolution designates Jana Kopeka as Brick Township's Public Agency Compliance Officer for 2021. Resolution 13-5.
Designate agent for taxing district, Ocean County Board of Taxation.
This resolution designates the township's tax assessor or municipal attorney as the agent for the taxing district during the year 2021 and have the ability to execute stipulations of the settlement on any tax appeal or complaint filed by the township or by a taxpayer in the tax year 2021. Resolution 13-7.
Authorize petty cash funds.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
6. That was 6, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm jumping
That's
ahead. This resolution authorizes petty cash funds in the Township Clerk's Office, Police Department, Public Works, Engineering Department, and Parks Department. Now 13-7. Sorry about that.
Authorize advice and consent for fair and open professional services contract with Township Attorney.
This resolution authorizes the appointment of Starkey, Kelly, Keneally, Cunningham, and Turnback as the Township Attorney for 2021. Resolution 13-8.
Authorize advice and consent for fair and open professional services contract with municipal prosecutor and alternate.
This resolution authorizes Michael Burns from Romero Law as municipal prosecutor and attorneys Charles Fiore and John Carlton from Romero Law as alternate prosecutor. Resolution 13-9.
Authorize advice and consent for fair and open professional service contract with municipal public defender, alternate, and conflict public defender.
Councilman Mumolo.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes Matthew R. Sage from the Law Office of Matthew Sage as Municipal Public Defender, Charles P. Tiverton, Esquire, Anthony J. Destrobats from Destrobats, Campbell Staub, Lieb Klein, Esquire, and Ben A. Montenegro from Montenegro, Thompson, Montenegro, and Gentz as alternate public defender, Charles P. Tiverton, Esquire, Anthony J. Destrobats from Destrobats, Campbell Straub, Lieb Klein, Esquire, Ben A. Montenegro from Montenegro, Thompson, Montenegro, and Gentz, and attorney Adam J. Sturman and Raymond D. Bogan from Fitzsimmons, Cantoli, Bogan, West, Sturman as conflict public defenders.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution 13-10.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for legal counsel for redevelopment issues.
Councilman Mumolo.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the contract for legal counsel for redevelopment issues to McMiniman, Scotland, and Bauman, Roseland, New Jersey.
Thank you. Resolution 13-11.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for township auditor.
Councilman Mumolo.
This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract with Fallon and Company, Hazlitt, as township auditor.
Resolution 13-12.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional services contract for professional accountant services.
Thank you. Councilman Mumolo.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract with Bowman and Company, Voorhees, for professional accountant services.
Resolution 13-13.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for Affordable Housing Council.
Councilman Mumolo, one more time.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes execution of a contract with Wynone, Conklin, Minchello, Island for Affordable Housing Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution 13-14.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for the legal services pool.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract with the following pool of professionals for legal matters not being handled by the township attorney. Attorney pool, Barker, Gelfand, Janes, and Sarvis of Linwood, Bathgate, Wegner, and Wolf of Lakewood, Brown and Connery of Westmont, Charles P. Tiverton of Brick, Sitta, Holzapfel, and Zabarski of Toms River, Cleary, Giacob, Alfieri, Jacobs of Matawan, Durkin and Durkin of West Caldwell, Eric M. Bernstein and Associates of Warren, Florio Perucci, Steinhardt, Capelli, Tipton, and Taylor of New Providence, Gluck Walrath of Freehold, Inglesino, Webster, Wiscala, and Taylor of Parsippany, Kelleher, Van Dyke, and Moriarty of Toms River, Kevin B. Reardon of Toms River, King, Kittrick, Jackson, McWeeny, and Wells of Manasquan, LaCourte, Bundy, Verardi, and Kinsella of Union, Leitner, Tort, DeFazio, and Browse of Edison, Marmero Law of Woodbury, Montenegro, Thompson, Montenegro, and Gentz of Brick, Raynone, Coughlin, Mincello of Island, Roselli, Gregel, Lozier, and Lazaro of Hamilton Square, Rothstein, Mandel, Strom, Halm, and Cipriani of Lakewood, Seacare Law Firm of Toms River, and Wiener Law Group of Red Bank. Labor Council, Armando V. Riccio of Medford, Barker, Gelfin, James, and Sarvis of Linwood, Brown and Company of Westmont, Durkin and Durkin of West Caldwell, Eric M. Bernstein and Associates of Warren, Gluck Walrath of Freehold, Inglesino, Webster, Wiscalla, and Taylor of Parsippany, LaCourte, Bundy, Verardi, and Kinsella of Union, and Raynone, Coughlin, Mincello of Island. Tax Appeals Council, Durkin and Durkin of West Caldwell, Eric M. Bernstein and Associates of Warren, Inglesino, Webster, Wiscalla, and Taylor of Parsippany, Roselli, Gregel, Lozier, and Lazaro of Hamilton Square, and Starkey, Kelly, Keneally, Cunningham, and Turnback of Toms River. Tax Foreclosure Council, Eric M. Bernstein and Associates of Warren, and Goldenberg, Mackler, Said, Mintz, Pfeiffer, Bonchi, and Gill of Northfield.
Good job. All right. Resolution 1315, Vice President, right? Am I right? Okay, 1315, Vice President Halloran.
This resolution authorizes a contract for professional engineering, surveying, environmental, dredging, and traffic consultants for various minor projects and preliminary studies on proposed capital projects, environmental issues, and other general engineering projects for the 2021 calendar year to the following professional pools. Engineering Surveying, ACT Engineers, Robbinsville, ARH Associates, Hamilton, Brightview Engineering, Roseland, Center State Engineering, Monroe Township, CME Associates, Howell, Concord Engineering Group, Voorhees, French and Perello Associates, Wall, Grotto Engineering Associates, Cranford, H2M Associates, Wall, Keystone Engineering Group, Hamilton, Leon S. Avakian, Neptune, LS Engineering Associates, Montville, Mazer Consulting, Red Bank, Morgan Engineering, Toms River, Prestige Environmental, Summit, Suburban Consulting Engineers, Flanders, T&M Associates, Toms River, Van Cleef Engineering Associates, Hillsborough, and WJH Engineering in Oakhurst. In the category of Environmental Engineering, ACT Engineers, Robbinsville, ARH Associates, Hamilton, CME Associates, Howell, French and Perello Associates, Wall, LS Engineering Associates Corporation, Montville, Mazer Consulting, Red Bank, Prestige Environmental, Somerset, and Suburban Consulting Engineers, Flanders. In the category of Dredging Engineering Pool, ACT Engineers, Robbinsville, CME Associates, Howell, French and Perello Associates, Wall, Leon S. Avakian, Neptune, Mazer Consulting, Red Bank, and Suburban Consulting Engineers, Flanders. In the category of Traffic Engineering, Brightview Engineering, Roseland, CME Associates, Howell, French and Perello Associates, Wall, LS Engineering Associates Corporation, Montville, Mazer Consulting, Red Bank, Suburban Consulting Engineers, Flanders.
Thank you. Resolution 1316,
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open services contract for architectural services pool.
Councilman Menachino.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract with the following pool of professionals and architectural services. Architectural Design Group, Winter Park, Florida. Barlow, Ganelli, and Associates in Brick, H2M Architects and Engineering in Wall, Meta Architects Mountainside, Roeder Ebensberger Associates Williamstown, Sedembrino Architects Red Bank, the Design Calibrative Architects and Planner Cape May Courthouse, the Musel Group Architects Mountainside, Tokarski Millman Architects Wall, and Yezi Associates Toms River.
Thank you. Resolution 1317.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for bond counsel.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Thank you, Madam President. This resolution authorizes a contract with Willentz, Goldman, and Spitzer of Woodbridge as bond counsel.
Resolution 1318.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for financial advisor.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes a contract with Northwest Financial Group of Hoboken as financial advisor.
Resolution 1319.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional services contract for the property appraisal property inspection services pool.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract with the following firms to provide property appraisal and inspection services to the township on an as-needed basis. Associated Appraisal Group of Cranford, Federal Appraisal, White House Station, and Henry J. Mancini and Associates of Manahawkin.
Resolution 1320.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for the property maintenance board attorney.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract with Charles G. Bauer of Brick as attorney for the property maintenance board.
Resolution 1321.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for the hearing officer.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract with the following attorneys to serve as hearing officer: Barker, Gelfland, James, and Sarvis of Linwood, Charles D. Bauer of Brick, Cleary, Giacobbe, Alfieri, Jacobs of Matawan, Kevin B. Reardon of Toms River, and Rothstein, Mandel, Strom, Halm, and Cipriani of Lakewood.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Resolution 1322.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for the animal control officer services.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract with A Academy of South Jersey, Howell, for animal control officer services at a set hourly rate schedule with an annual not-to-exceed amount of $120,000.
Resolution 1323.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional services contract for planning services pool.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract with the following firms to provide planning services for the research and writing of planning studies and reports to the township on an as-needed basis: ACT Engineers, Robbinsville; ARH Associates, Hamilton; CME Associates, Howell; Leon S. Avakian, Neptune; Mazer Consulting, Red Bank; T&M Associates, Middletown; and Van Cleef Engineering Associates, Hillsborough. Board of Adjustment and Planning Board Conflict Planner, ARH Associates, Hamilton; CME Associates, Howell; and Leon S. Avakian, Neptune.
Resolution 1324.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for the code enforcement prosecutor and alternate.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract with Lonnie Lombardo of the firm Cleary, Giacobbe, Alfieri, and Jacobs, Matawan, as code enforcement prosecutor. This resolution also authorizes the execution of a contract for attorneys Michael Burns, Charles Fiore, and John Carlton from the Marmero Law Firm as alternate code enforcement prosecutor.
Resolution 1325.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for the employee assistance program.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract with Preferred Behavioral Health Lakewood to implement the Township Employees Assistance Program.
Resolution 1326.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for the insurance broker consultants.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract with Acrisure, also known as IMAC, for insurance broker consultant for the employees and retirees' dental, vision, and temporary disability insurance, and Foundation Risk Partners, also known as Fairview Insurance Agency Associates, for insurance broker consultant for the employees and retirees' medical, prescription, stop-loss, and COBRA.
Thank you. Resolution 1327.
Authorize mayor to enter into fair and open professional service contract for veterinary services.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract for veterinary services for emergency minimal care for sick and/or injured dogs, cats, or wildlife to Cedars Veterinary Hospital in Brick and Jersey Shore Veterinary, Inc. of Lakewood.
Resolution 1328.
Authorize execution of a Schedule C agreement with the County of Ocean for 2021.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
This resolution authorizes the execution of a contract for the provision of certain government services with the County of Ocean as part of a Schedule C agreement. This agreement includes funds, if needed, to participate in an interlocal agreement for roads, engineering, and vehicle services as an as-needed basis throughout the year.
Resolution 1329.
Authorize appointment of member of the Board of Adjustment.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
This resolution confirms the appointment of Darren Caffrey as a member of the Board of Adjustment for a term effective January 1st, 2021 and expiring December 31st, 2021.
Resolution 1330.
Authorize appointment of one commissioner to the Housing Authority.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
This resolution authorizes the appointment of Kathy Russell as a commissioner of the Brick Township Housing Authority for a term effective March 15th, 2021 and expiring March 14th, 2026.
Thank you. Good job. Resolution 1331.
Authorize appointment of one commissioner to the BTMUA.
This resolution authorizes the appointment of Derek Ambrosino as a member of the Brick Township Municipal Utilities Authority for a term effective February 1st, 2021 and expiring on January 31st, 2026. Resolution 1332.
Authorize appointments to the Property Maintenance Board.
This resolution authorizes the appointment of the following members of the Township's Property Maintenance Board: Edward Bucher, Stephen Brill, Ron Gaskill, James Hogan, and Sandra Thomas, along with alternates Joanne Bergen and Richard DiGennaro. Resolution 1333.
Authorize appointments to the Tourist Development Commission.
This resolution authorizes the appointment of Nicholas D'Angelo from Talkaholics, Islam Ekwat from 711 Brick Boulevard, members of the Tourist Development Commission for a 2-year term, and Chris Jovanovsky from Jovo's Deli, filling in an unexpired term ending December 31st, 2021. Additionally, Councilwoman DeYoung is appointed as the Township's Council Representative for a 1-year term. Resolution 1334.
Authorize appointments to the Ethics Information Committee.
This resolution authorizes the appointments to the Ethics Information Committee: Councilman Paul Mumolo, Councilman Vince Minikino, Councilwoman Andrea Zapsik, Jack Russell, Carl Jordan, and Eileen Delaval. Resolution 1335.
Authorize appointments to the Sustainable Brick Township Committee.
This resolution authorizes the appointments of the following members of the Sustainable Brick Township Committee: Mayor John G. Ducey or designee Robert Checkeye, Council President designee Vince Minikino, Keith Rella, Municipal Planner designee, Ken Mathis, Department of Public Works Representative, Victoria Pacala, Board of Education Representative, Stephen Speck, Brick Township Utilities Authority Representative, Sharon Urquiolani, Environmental Commission Representative, Brian Mursky, Chamber of Commerce Representative, John Hyphantis, Resident, Paul J. Kurtz, Resident, Sarisa Peterson, Resident, Carly Delahose, Resident, and Jessica Clayton, Resident. Resolution 1336.
Authorize appointments to the TNR Committee.
This resolution authorizes the following appointments to the TNR Committee. Animal Control Officer Marcus Perry, Councilwoman Andrea Zapsik, Mayor's Representative Joanne Bergen, and 4 citizens, John Talty, Scott Smith, Kathleen Carpenter. Resolution 1337.
Authorize appointment of Class 3 Planning Board member.
This resolution authorizes the appointment of Councilman Mumolo as a Class 3 member of the Township Planning Board and the Architectural Review Committee for a 1-year term. Resolution 1338.
Recognize 2021 incoming officers.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Thank you. A. Bretton Woods Fire Company, President Chris Fredericks, Vice President James Rocco, Secretary John Rotundo, Treasurer Dan Lyons, Trustees Steve Gerling and John Rotundo, and Chief Brian Strider, Assistant Chief Barry Rayner, First Lieutenant Thomas Thiem, Second Lieutenant William Andrikite, and Safety Officer Chris Fredericks.
Thank you. Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you. For the Herbertsville Fire Company, President Angelo Natoli, Vice President Mike DeCandia, Treasurer Barry Osborne, Secretary Andrew Quinn, Trustees James Scott, Sr., Christopher Matsuer, and Paul Matula, Chief David Sanchez, Captain James Lepore, and First Lieutenant Christopher Matsuer, Second Lieutenants Andrew Christensen and Mike DeCandia, and Safety Officers Angelo Natoli and Mark Christensen.
Thank you. Councilman Minikino.
Thank you. For the Laurelton Fire Company, President Robert Contreras, Vice President Leonard Figueroa, Recording Secretaries Kyle Borer, Corresponding Secretary Michael Scott, Treasurer Joseph Pawlowski, Jr., Sergeant-at-Arms is Jim Holsert, Trustee is Michael Sirokis and John Heffernan, Sr., Jeffrey Richards, Robert Skillman, Charles Turner, Chief is Chris Ackerman, Assistant Chief is David Bernenberg, Captain is Paul Mazzio, Frank Bashirs, and Jim Holsett.
Thank you. And Council Vice President Halloran.
Thank you, Council President. For the Pioneer Hose Fire Company, President Gary Abazier, Vice President John Sansone, Secretary Cole Hadley, Trustees Joseph Sansone, Peter Quinlan, and Edward Slowinski, Chief Peter Quinlan, Assistant Chief Joseph Lecandro, Captain Vincent Piscatola, Lieutenant William Magnuson, Second Lieutenant Joseph Sansone, and Safety Officers Thomas Freed and Brian Beeg.
Thank you. Thanks. Good job to everyone on reading all of those names. That is the end of our consent agenda. Can I get a motion and second?
Minikino motion.
Second,
Second,
Halloran.
Conservero.
Open to council. Closed council, open to public for questions on the resolutions only. Seeing none, closed public, roll call.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Abstain 1315 and 1323.
And
And to the rest?
Yes to the rest.
Thank you. Councilman Mumolo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Vice President Halloran.
Yes.
President Crete.
yes. We are on to Resolution 1339, Manual Bill Resolution.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $1,773,893.90.
Thank you. Can I get a motion and second?
Motion,
Halloran.
Conservero.
Second, Halloran.
Open to council. Closed council, open to public for questions on the manual bill resolution. Seeing none, closed public, roll call.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Councilwoman DeYoung.
Yes.
Councilman Mamalo.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Vice President Halloran.
Yes.
President Crate.
Yes.
Thank you.
We are on to Resolution 1314. We're on to public comment.
Please note that each person addressing the council during any section of the meeting during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 5 minutes pursuant to Brick Township Administrative Code, Section 2-33B.
Thank you. Yep, we're checking. There's no one for... Hold on.
Yes, we have a hand raised.
Yes, hand raised for public comment.
Or
R. Palmisano?
Yes, Robert Palmisano, 525 Broad Avenue. I'm following up regarding the flooding issues. I wrote to the mayor again last night, the town administrator, police chief was copied on it, and that was the fourth email I've sent in the last, I guess, month regarding the flooding, and I have not received a response back. And a couple issues. One is the mayor, well, I take that back. The mayor actually forwarded my email a few weeks back to the police chief asking him to review it and respond. I never received a response. It was regarding the pictures I sent of a work truck cruising through the streets of Normandy Beach, causing havoc with the water in a huge wake. And many residents have requested the police sit on Broad Avenue in front of 525 Broad or in that vicinity on the curb there instead of the corner of 7th and Broad, because they're not doing any good there, to slow down people. Or the residents are requesting that non-residents not be allowed into the area when the streets are flooded. There's no reason we need work trucks cruising through there or people joyriding when there's a foot of water in the streets. It's creating havoc. It's damaging personal property. That's one thing. I would like an accurate, you guys mentioned before that 10 valves have been installed in Brick Township, 4 more to go. How many valves and the locations, which valves in Normandy Beach have installed? What locations are they in? How many need to be installed? Second part of the question is, we were told a few months back that the DPW reported back that they didn't realize the catch basins were made out of concrete block and cement, and because of that, they're porous, and the water is seeping through them, up through the catch basin and flooding the streets. In the last 24 hours, last night about 4 o'clock and today about 4 o'clock, the roads flooded again. As you're all aware, you're all in Normandy Beach, you're all in Brick Township, there's been no rain, the wind is very light. The water is coming up through the catch basins. So you may have put a couple check valves in Normandy Beach, but the ones you haven't sealed off are the ones now flooding. And they happen to be on Broad Avenue, heading towards right near our court. We've asked for, again, DPW to come out when these things are flooding. We get an alert on the phone that the buoy by the Manahawkin Bridge is at a certain point. You can set your clock within 60 minutes, the roads are going to flood. We've asked you to come out and witness this so you can see what's going on, and identify which catch basins are the problem, and no one's been out. And then lastly, what monies are being budgeted in the 2021 budget for additional flapper valves and flood remedies in Normandy Beach?
So with regards to the flapper valves, there's the 10 that are installed. There's 4 that aren't. One's on Vennard, and the other 3 are all in Normandy. We're waiting for the manufacturer to make them because they're odd shape. They're not standard issue. The catch basins, our DPW, one of our supervisors is looking into what would be the best material to use to try to make those watertight. He's looking into different paints that they use for waterproofing basements and things like that. He also says it's going to be very difficult because he's got to find a time during the day when it is dry in those catch basins. And if you obviously you live out there, so you know that it's probably usually never, very rarely dry. So it's going to be trying to find some really low tides with regards to that. The catch basin, the flapper valves, We funded $300,000 this year on them, so, you know, that there's money left to buy additional flapper valves throughout the town. And the
2020 or 21?
2020. And the
The
additional, as far as additional work in Normandy, we recently received good news. We got a $450,000 grant from State DOT in our joint application with Tom's River. And in addition to that, our capital budget will include the funding, you know, for the rest of the project while we apply for other grants as well. But that'll be fully funded in our 2021 capital budget, which is probably going to be $1 million plus.
All right, so since the residents attended the meetings back in January and February of last year, what's happened there are 3 flapper valves that have been installed in Normandy Beach out of the 4. We were told several months ago, Mr. Mayor, that the 4th one, that the short valve was ordered. I don't understand why it's taking so long for that one to be installed. And then I don't understand how DPW doesn't know the construction of our catch basins in town, that they were naive enough to not realize they're made out of concrete block and cement like they all are throughout the state. No catch basins constructed of any other type of material. I'm sure you're well aware, there is material you can apply in the water. For example, the Point Pleasant Canal was sealed a few years back. Underwater, they put a protective sealant, like a rubber coating, on the metal bulkhead there, and that was all done in the water. So there is different materials. It may not be as easy to apply, but there's material available. So of the additional monies that are left, how many additional flapper valves will be allocated specifically to Normandy Beach, not to all of Brick?
I'm not sure where you got your information that there's only been 1 installed in Normandy. That's incorrect information. There's been a number. I don't have that information in front of me. You should go back, check the latest update that we gave. That would give all that information. But there's definitely been a lot more than 1 out there.
No, I said the one that's missing. You just said there's 3 that have been installed. So I'll take your word for it. I'm not sure where they are, but I'll take your word for it. You said there's 1 additional one, the short valve, that is back ordered. It still hasn't been, the manufacturer hasn't supplied yet.
No, there's one on Bernard and 3 in Normandy.
Okay, so that 3 in Normandy have been installed. There's 1 more coming.
No. There's 3 in Normandy that have not been installed. We're waiting for it to come from the manufacturer, and 1 on Bernard. So 4 total that we're waiting for from our first phase.
So how many have been installed in Normandy Beach?
Like I said, you have to go back, look at our latest update. That's, our communication process. We give updates every so often, and that would let you know which ones have been installed.
Well, if I recall correctly, the last update that we got from the town administrator said that they were all installed in Normandy Beach, except the 1 short valve that they didn't realize they needed. That was the update. And you're telling me that there's 3 that need to be installed in Normandy Beach. It was our impression we were only getting 4 in the original order.
No, we decided to put in more. So,
all right, so can someone follow up with me so I don't need to go back through a ton of emails and provide me an exact number of how many have been installed and at what locations? Because the flooding, Mr. Mayor, again, in the last 20, currently the road is covered in water. There's no reason for that. There's no breach of a bulkhead. We're a week away from a full moon. There's no strong wind. We haven't had rain. The only reason the water's up because the lagoon is up a few inches. It's in the catch basin and it's overflowing into the streets. If these catch basins had flapper valves, there would be no way the water could come into the streets.
Okay, sir, I'm going to stop you right there. Your 5 minutes are up. The mayor did answer some of your questions.
All right, so will someone follow up with the location and the amount that have been installed?
I will send an email to the Normandy Beach Association group with that answer.
Thank you.
All right, please include the locations. Thank you.
There's a Bill Kelleher.
Yes, thank you for taking my question.
Sure.
I didn't realize that this was coming up so quick, so I didn't actually submit a letter of interest, but I am offering myself to any of the committees as a volunteer member for whatever you need.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank
All right,
you.
we have your name. Thank you. Can you send an email to the mayor? What's your address? I'm sorry.
It's mayor@bricktownship.net. Just an email of interest, and a resume if you want, but just an email of interest to what committees you're interested in.
Yes, I certainly will. I was on the BMAC years ago. I'm looking forward to getting involved again. I thank you, and I'll send
Great.
an email.
Thank you. Catherine Benucci? Is that her name?
Benucci Smith.
Oh, Benucci Smith. I'm sorry. I couldn't read what it said there.
Hi, you got it right. That's actually very impressive. Not many people do.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if this is the right place to comment. I also live on Broad Avenue. I'm one of the newer residents there. I guess we've lived there for 5 years and been kind of overwhelmed with the amount of flooding and the damage that it's caused to our property. And I do recognize that many of our neighbors have put signs up asking for no wake, and I have a neighbor that stands outside and just waves at people to please slow down. I guess I'm echoing some of Robert Palmisano's comments about the disregard for the property damage that the flooding has caused, which is unnecessary to vehicles that run through there. And I went to a couple town halls where we met council members, and they told us to call the local Brick Police Department for help. But this last time, it was the same truck that went back and forth 10 times, and I did notify them, but there was no response. So I feel like I must be following the wrong protocol to have someone address this situation, and I don't know if that can be answered now or later, but I would like to follow whatever it is to cause the least amount of damage to houses as you try to figure out how to, fix the neighborhood and the street.
Mayor, go ahead.
The police is definitely the way to go. They're the ones who respond to all emergencies in town, be if somebody has a heart attack, if it's a car accident, whatever the case may be, including flooding. 732-262-1100 is the non-emergency number, and, obviously, they would put it in order of, sending a person out. But we have somebody who always patrols on the barrier island, so I don't know if there was an accident at the same time or something else going on or what happened, but, I'll pass it along to the chief.
I appreciate that. I did, when I called that number on a number of occasions, I always spoke to someone different. And I don't know, it might have been an emergency day where people were needed in other areas, but I do notice that, it's probably not a top priority. But as a resident there, the damage is kind of overwhelming when these trucks and other vehicles do come through the neighborhood and really disregard everything we've done as a community to try to slow them down.
Yeah, it would be dispatchers are going to answer the phone, or the front desk watch commander. There's different people who can answer the phone, but that's the police number. I mean, if it is an emergency, obviously 911 is the way to go, but that would be your decision.
Are there any designations of where the trucks are coming from, from the name of the companies or anything like that on the trucks?
Yes, this is Robert Palmisano. I sent pictures to the mayor and the administrator with a picture of a truck with the full wake. The name of the business is clearly shown on the truck, and that's the one he forwarded to the police chief, saying, please respond, and I never heard from anyone. I have no idea if the police chief ever contacted that business, if he ever had a patrol car come out to the neighborhood and look where that car was working, or that truck was working. I had no idea. It's just the disrespect of not getting back to your citizens, whether it's via email or a phone call, anything. That's what's very frustrating. And then we see nothing done. We've requested the police be out there. They come out and they sit at the corner of 7th and Broad, but that does nothing. That's not where the speeding is. That's not where the flooding is. The flooding is on Broad, and they cruise through there. They think it's fun. Now, yeah, they're driving a business truck, so they'll probably damage the boss's truck. They'll need brakes and other things, from the salt water. That doesn't help us residents. It's damaging our homes. It's damaging our landscaping, stones. I mean, it runs on. And this is happening not even monthly now. This is weekly. It's costing us a lot of money and aggravation. And at some point, the residents are going to take this into their own hands.
Okay, thank you. Gus Miller?
Yeah, thanks so much. I live a little further out. It's at 484 Ellison Drive. I'm actually using my son's computer. He's Gus. I'm Jim Muller, the taxpayer here. I'd just like to say that if it is quite urgent. These last 2 days, you cannot even, unless you're driving an SUV, you cannot go in and out of Broad Street. And my wife drives a Honda, and it's crazy. And I've been at this house for over 20 years, and it's now happening with regularity. Every month, as Mr. Palmisano or Robert Palmisano just said, it was last night, it was again today. We cannot gain access to our homes or back to the highway at these high tides. And if the mayor had made one comment, that you're going to look for a day where the water is low, I would direct your attentions to the Stevens Institute predictor of flooding. It's very, very accurate. It tells you exactly when it's going to be below flood level. It's right now it's going to be touching on flood level all the way until Saturday. But if you want to find, the town wants to find a day, you can look at this 3-4 days in advance and know when there's going to be a low enough tide that they can service these catch basins and do the work on the flappers, because we need help. And I just wanted to bring this to your attention as a taxpayer.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I know our engineer and works with our DPW. We're giving them the advice of when to do things with the tides.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this is Jeannie McCurdy. I kind of second everything that my neighbors have said. We still are in the dark about what the status of the catch basins are, and I've sent very respectful emails to a number of people with zero response. So I'm interpreting that. I have to interpret that no one cares, or I understand we're not the top priority, that there's COVID, that there are other issues. I know there's a big drug issue. I understand that, but I don't even get a response. And the items that Katie Benucci brought up and Robert brought up and Jim Muller brought up, these are all, we're not getting any answers. We're not getting any work. We've been given what we all pretty much consider all our, just speak for myself, a lot of empty promises. We, with no wind and no rain, we're still being flooded. Now, I know that the council and the mayor have, no one has any precedence over when the tide's going to be high or low or the moon full or anything else. But we were told that these catch basins were going to help us out, and if anything, they've hurt us. And seriously, Christmas Day, and we're seniors, my husband spent 9 to 6, I wrote this in an email, just to the town, just to the mayor and TJ, and, I don't want to interrupt anybody's Christmas, but my husband spent 9 to 6, pumping out with a wet dry vac. I did 10 to 2. We couldn't bail fast enough. And so our Christmas started about 8 o'clock that night with 2 very tired, weary, drenched people. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm just saying that if nothing's going to be done, tell us. And if something's going to be done, tell us. And tell us so we know what is happening, and we think we deserve at least that much respect. And as Jim Muller pointed out, there are times where you can figure out, we all get the Stevens Institute, we look, we know when our property is going to be damaged, and we don't want it, and we're very frustrated because it seems to us that nothing's being done.
Maybe it's the mask, because so it's not, we're not waiting for the tides. It's just TJ noted that it's going to be difficult for him to get a time. when it's going to be that low, because the catch basins go lower. He's trying to find the right material because he wants it to be successful. He's investigating all different things in order to do that, to seal those things. Whether or not it works, who knows? There's a lot of missing pieces in these catch basins and all. As I know you had the conversation with TJ. I was there, so you're aware of it.
Yes.
So hopefully he finds the right material and hopefully it works. But yeah, that's something that he's promised and he's working on for sure. And we're waiting for the manufacturer for the additional 3 flapper valves for Normandy, because they're odd-sized and they're not standard, so they can't get them. We can't just order them. They got to be specially made.
I understand that, sir, respectfully, but we had that conversation in, like, July, and now it's January, and I know these things don't happen overnight. I'm very savvy to that. But, you know, now it's winter, now it's cold, now the tides are different, now there's nor'easters, and many of us don't understand why it wasn't attended to earlier on when the weather was nicer, when the tides were lower, which of course you have no control over, and I really, again, respectfully understand that.
Yeah, unfortunately, our sign shop can make signs, but we can't make these things. If we could make these things, we would do it. But they got to be made by the actual professionals. And they're the manufacturers, and we just got to, they're the ones, they got to make them specially. They're not standard order. They're special orders, and unfortunately, we don't have the capabilities in our township here of making these things. These are heavy-duty products.
I understand that, but we've waited months. And as the months go on...
Have they been ordered?
Maybe try calling the company. I don't know what if you want to try to call the company, have them...
I'm being respectful, and I of course have no information about that, but nothing's happened, and nothing's happened at all. So if there's some kind of a remediation in between waiting for these parts that you have no control over, at least at least stationing somebody without a sign. We're not looking. We would like the signs changed, but I'm not even talking about that. We would like something done, and nothing's been done. Nothing's been done. We continue to get the
Okay, thank you.
that Katie and Robert Palmisano and Jim Muller have been talking about, and we continue to have damage to our property, and we continue to be frustrated. And okay, if you say that, I understand you personally can't move up the manufacturing, but there are things, maybe some stopgaps that TJ can figure out or the police can figure out that at least mitigates it while we're waiting and waiting and waiting.
Thank you.
Jeannie, if I could just add. Jeannie, this is Jim Muller again.
Excuse me,
I need Mayor,
to...
what's going to happen here is...
Excuse me, sir, this is still an actual meeting, so you have to be recognized before you just jump in. This is not a conversation.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. So your name is?
My name is Jim Muller.
And can you give your address again?
I reside at 484 Ellison Drive. And I just wanted to add to Jeannie's point, Jeannie, you made some excellent points, that one night in the next few weeks, there's a very good chance when this flood comes in, it is going to freeze, and it's going to really just rip up all of Broad Street, because the water, will turn to ice, and the street already has numerous potholes, and the town is going to incur far more expense in repairing the street once this freezes and just blows things apart even more. And, of course, then you're also set up for accidents on all that ice.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry for interrupting.
That's all right. Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment?
What does the engineering firm report back on this? If I recall the engineering report, there was nothing about sealing catch basins.
Excuse me, who's speaking right now?
Robert Palmisano.
All right, again, I'm going to repeat, I'm going to stop you, sir. Sir, I'm going to stop you. This is a public meeting. You cannot just jump in and start a conversation or a thought that's in your mind. You need to be recognized before you speak. Now, if you have something to say, please state your name now, repeat your address, and you will be given your time again. Anyone else from public comment?
On 525 Broad Avenue.
Thank you.
The ACT engineers report that that you paid a couple $100,000 for and received several months back, if I recall, it said nothing at all, never addressed sealing catch basins. Again, that goes back to them never visiting the site. If you recall, when they gave the report, the head engineer, he stated he never came out to Normandy Beach to visit the site. So I'm not sure why we haven't gone back to ACT engineer to say, this is the problem we're currently having. What do you propose as solutions? Instead of relying on someone, an employee of DPW or the police chief or any of your citizens. Why are we not going back to the professionals and getting an opinion from them and then following through with their proposals? It makes no sense. Can someone answer that? We have a township engineer. Have they been out to the site lately and seen what's going on?
Yes, they're out there. She's out there a lot.
And what does she propose be done as a stopgap?
She works in conjunction with our DPW department, and they've proposed seal coating the. There's 2 different catch basins in the area. They're proposing to seal coat those. I'm sure you're well aware of this.
Well, every catch basin is constructed of the same material, so if you seal 1 or 2, they're only going to come up in the other ones. It's the same thing if you put flapper valves, sir, on 3 or 4 catch basins and there are 12 or 15, the water's going to find, it's going to come up in the other catch basins or the other pipes that don't have the flapper valve. That's why we said from day one, you can't put Band-Aids on this. We need to address it as a whole, a whole project. We need flapper valves on all the pipes, on all the catch basins, and all the catch basins need to be sealed. Otherwise, it's just going to move the problem 100 yards down the street.
Yes, some people are asking for stopgaps, some people are asking for permanent. We're doing exactly both of those things. So we just heard from somebody a little bit ago, want stopgaps. Now you're saying you don't want the Band-Aids, you don't want the stopgaps, but what we do is we have to do is try to do the best we can with what we have, which is do stopgaps along the way, and then we're obviously all going for the big huge project that we all know about with the road elevations. Over $1 million are spending in 2021 money on the project, in addition to the $300,000 that we spent this year and the 200 and whatever thousand for the engineer. We're talking close to $2 million that we've spent in the last I guess 11 months.
And unfortunately, sir, the result is we've seen 0 improvement. So you've wasted $2 million. We have one catch base, we have one flapper valve installed. You have a useless ACT report that recommended raising the road. That was a foregone conclusion before the report was even submitted. ACT engineer came in with no new solutions to this problem. Nothing new. You know it, I know.
Again, some people are saying hire an engineer, have an engineer look. Other people are saying let the police chief do it, let the DPW do it. It's just, there's just, obviously everybody has a lot of opinions out there, so thanks.
This is Jeannie McCurdy. I don't want us to be playing semantics on opinions. Stopgaps, I think we would all be happy with if they worked. Long-term solutions, we're certainly for that. So, again, respectfully, we're for the stopgaps if we can find out what works. And to Robert Palmisano's point, if the ACT engineers have kind of a better idea after all the money that the town has spent on this, let's consult with them. I'm delighted to pursue a stopgap and a long term. We need something done. We need something done sooner rather than later. We've waited. We're frustrated. Our properties, you've heard it all. I don't think I need to repeat myself on that. But let's not play semantics with long-term, short-term, who wants, who doesn't. No, we all want this to be solved. We know it's not an easy problem. We know there are tide problems. We know there's nor'easters coming. We just want some activity. We want some clarification that something's being done while we're waiting for these expensive parts to be made specifically for us, which isn't easy, which isn't quick. We want something done, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Eileen Morano.
Hello?
Wait,
I live at 548 Broad Avenue. Excuse me?
You can speak. Go ahead.
Okay. I live at the corner of Broad and 6th, so my house is always flooded. We had well over a foot of water surround the entire house all throughout Christmas. We couldn't leave the house. And I don't need to reiterate, you know, our house gets damaged, our landscaping, our driveway on a daily basis. Just a couple things. And I don't think there was any ill will when this was done, but not too long ago, we had the whole street flooded, and some of my younger neighbors were out on boogie boards, and the Brick Township truck would back up and speed forward and back up and speed forward to make a little wake for them. What they're unaware of is every time they did that, a wall of water came into my garage. Like I said, I don't want to be that cranky neighbor, and I'm sure they were just trying to make some fun for the kids. But every time the road is flooded and a truck of any significant size drives down the street, my garage gets flooded. And with all due respect, that includes the police Hummer, because it is such a heavy truck. Wall of water hits into my garage every time that's driven down the road when it's flooded. So I would just ask if among the township, people could be sensitive to that. And then I have a second issue. You've heard it before, probably. I have a nurse that visits my house every other week to do infusion treatments. I believe it was just last week. His car was, a Honda, was parked in front of my house on Broad Street. On a sunny day, the water came up high and so fast it was over his running boards before we even noticed. And he had to drive through standing water to then take his car up the block. And then in order, when the treatment was over, to get him to his car, we had to drive my brand new car through the standing water. And I got water into my back seat. So is there any type of allowance, because I know for a fact I'm not the only person that has visiting nurses in this neighborhood, is there any type of process where if I know we're going to have flooding, I can have that nurse park up on the service road and have someone drop him at my house, excuse me, that owns a hired truck, and can pick him up when the treatment is over? It's about a 6-hour day.
Not that I know of. Yeah.
So I have no option except to ruin my car in order to go through these medical treatments.
All the police have them take you.
Will they do that? Because I've called the police in the past and I've been told they are busy. And I'm sure they are. I don't question that in any way. So if it doesn't already exist, I think with the amount of seniors in my neighborhood, when we're talking about stopgaps, we should come up with a process for this, because I do see medical personnel in the neighborhood and they're up against the same thing as I am. And this is going on now for more than 2 years, so it's getting expensive, and I don't think my nurse should have to suffer damage to his car because he's coming to give me a treatment.
We do have our emergency management coordinator. He sends emails letting to the Normandy email, so I don't know if you're part of that group or not. That
Yes,
warns when the high tides are coming. He does do that in case you don't follow the tides yourself. He sends those emails out.
No, I do. And the problem is,
So
once the tide
that'll give
comes
you the
up,
warning.
he's trapped in my house.
With all due respect, Mr. Mayor, we never received any warning the last 2 days.
Excuse me. No. We're not going to do that.
Just letting you know.
Thank you.
So I'm just, I don't expect my issue to take precedent over everything else, but I do know there are quite a few seniors that have the same kinds of concerns. So maybe we should talk about what the process is to get people out of houses that may be stranded in there when the tides affect the flooding.
Oh, yeah, we have, that would be a 911 call for sure. Unless you don't feel it's an emergency, then a 262-1100, and we have a Humvee that's made for that we keep. We move it closer to the barrier island when there is going to be weather, but that'll get down any road. The chief talks about that often. We got it through a surplus from the Army and things, so it's a good vehicle.
Yeah, we see the Humvee comes when there's flooding, but all they do is drive through the water. They don't close the road.
Yeah, but if you call them, they'll get you out. You said you needed somebody to get out. They'll definitely get you out. Just call them. Yeah.
Okay, and I'll let you know how that goes.
Okay, thank you.
And this is Jeannie McCurdy again, 527 Broad Ave. So part of what Ms. Moran was also talking about, or Morano, I'm sorry, there's a Moran as well, so Morano, is that with the unnecessary, vehicles, on Christmas Day, which I was talking about earlier, there was a truck. I didn't have a chance to take a picture of it because it was moving so quickly, but I saw the word piling. It was a contractor who was doing some piling. Now, I'm not trying to stop anyone from doing commerce. This is a difficult time. We all recognize that. But there's no need for, as I mentioned, my husband and I, all the pumping out we did all day long, we don't need the piling guy going down the street at top speed, and we see this time and again, landscapers, everything else. And this is what we're talking about. So the nurses are way more important, and in my opinion, those are emergency vehicles. And I know it costs a lot of money to have the signs changed, but if there was someone who could just stop some of this traffic, and the Moranos would be fine, our neighbors, the Heddens, she's 92 years old. I believe she's bedridden at this point. She has healthcare workers coming in and out. If you look at them, they're our next door neighbors. I believe their address is 525. So we're talking about emergency situations, and we're talking about commercial vehicles. And we don't understand, while we're waiting for these expensive parts that need to be custom made, why we have to endure this. It just doesn't make sense, and it's frustrating. Thank you, sir.
Unfortunately, there's no consensus. We had signs up. We offered other signs, no wake zones and things like that, and we had so many calls and complaints, emails to take them down. We don't want these signs. It's affecting our property values. Yes, so it's just a lot of, half the people, it's similar to, things like, in the beginning with people wearing masks. Half the people want to wear them, half the people didn't. When you required them, half the people are mad at you. It's the same with the wake zones, the no wake zones, putting up signs. It kills our property value and things like that. So unfortunately, it's a no-win situation for the police. They can, they put the one sign up when they can. And
Broad Avenue. But again, I feel like that's semantics, because it's not about signs or expensive signs or who wants and who doesn't and who likes and who doesn't. I think the people that didn't like the signs that were put up, there was no discussion about it, and it made everybody's property look like, oh, you wouldn't ever want to live here. If there was some way, and I am not by any means an expert on this, if there was some way to make sure that during that time, sign or no, it was emergency vehicles only and residents only. And again, I don't run the police department, nor do, and I say this respectfully, I'm sure that everyone's trying to do a good job. But the job isn't being done to curtail, sign or no, what have you, to curtail non-emergency vehicles and residents only during high flooding times. however you want to address that, it's something to consider, because that's, as we're waiting, that's an important issue to direct your concentration and to see what we can do without playing who wants, who doesn't. I agree, everyone has different politics, masks or no masks. I understand that, but this isn't about signs. This isn't about consensus. This is really about what we can do during those extreme and frequent emergency situations. Thank you.
And with regard, I mean, it's not really a through street either. So it's, when you say there's no consensus, it's definitely not, because these trucks and vehicles are going somewhere, and somewhere is in that neighborhood. So it's the residents there that want these trucks, that have these trucks coming in. It's not as if, it's Route 35 and people are going from, Bayhead to Seaside Heights or something. They're there. They either live in the area, they live in those houses, or they're people visiting those houses, or they're people working on those houses, from the sounds of it, with the work trucks.
Yes, this is Jeannie McCurdy again, 527 Broad Ave. But here's the thing with your response, and we've never seen anybody stop anybody that's a non-emergency vehicle. We've never seen anyone stop anybody who's a resident only. And that's what we're talking about. Is there, I don't know, is there a citation for
there's laws against that.
Escapers? Is there, again, I'm not trying to stop commerce, but
there's
but this
constitutional rights, all sorts of stuff.
You know what? When the township has a priority and the legislation to back it, I think we could do something to stop. Again, on Christmas Day, why are pilings being put in, and why is this guy going on top speed?
But we don't, yeah.
If we could suggest maybe an association meeting where you bring that up with the members and the people who live there, they might appreciate it, don't realize that this is happening. Maybe it's their second home or something. And
this is Eileen Morano, 548 Broad Avenue. Mr. Mayor, just to be clear, the signs that were put up said, "Road may flood." They were permanent signs. They didn't say, "Do not enter if road is flooded." It didn't say residents only. It said road may flood, which to the people who had the signs put in front of their house, I can completely understand why they wouldn't want that sign. It serves no purpose but to detract from their property value. What we're talking about, and we've been talking about it for a long time now, is to have a physical police officer there when the roads are so flooded, and we frequently get a foot, 2 feet of water, to stop any superficial traffic from going down these roads. And let me be clear. I'm not talking about a UPS or a FedEx delivery where somebody is doing their job. I'm talking about a white pickup truck that throws a rope out of the back of the truck and pulls kids to water ski down Broad Avenue, creating wakes. That's what you would see if you spent some time in the neighborhood. Now, I've gone to all the meetings, and I'm thrilled that Tom's River is going to be working with us. But in the interim, I think it's just wrong of you to expect that people are held hostage in their house by this water and say everybody has a constitutional right to drive on the road. That's ridiculous. Nobody has a right to pull kids on surfboards down the street and play in the flood water because somebody's going to get hurt and the property continues to be damaged. And it's, clearly it's not just my house. We're talking about blocks worth of water damaging houses. I don't see any problem with a police officer saying, "Do you live here? If you don't, you can't drive through. Go park your car on the surface road and walk your way in if it's that important." We're just trying to maintain our properties until this help comes through.
And again, this is Jeannie McCurdy, 527. I totally concur with Eileen, and I would even further that by saying, unless it's an emergency delivery, for instance, like a nurse or some emergency vehicle. I don't see why FedEx has to deliver that day. And even, I would even question if, any delivery needs to be delivered on the day of a flood. I've had FedEx delivered too, and many of my FedExes have been a day or two delayed. Unless it's an emergency, I can certainly live without my delivery of things that I might think I want or need to not walk into a store or not have to, be out in a community, a crowded community or what have you, where I feel like maybe I'm in jeopardy by shopping or doing my errands or what have you. But so I want to further Eileen Morano's comments by saying, emergency vehicles only. And deliveries, maybe a police presence can say, you have to go, 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour. I mean, we're not trying to be intransigent. We understand that people need things. We understand that people need things to be done. We're not trying to stop contractors from doing their work. What we're trying to stop is, if it needs to hold up a day on landscaping, let's hold up a day. We need somebody to kind of, again, I don't have the exact game plan on this, but maybe a police officer could patrol that and not allow that. Emergency vehicles and residents only. I think we could probably have a consensus, but again, I think, and I know I've said this twice, I'll say it one more time, I think we're playing semantics with that. I think everyone wants just what's good for the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert,
Mr.
525
Palmisano?
Broad. Yes, Robert Palmisano, 525 Broad. I personally have called the police numerous times. I've met them in front of my house numerous times. I've requested that they park in front of my house or across the street from my home and stay there to watch these cars cruising through the water. They never do. Not once in the dozens of times I've called the police. They move their truck, the Humvee, to the corner of Broad and 7th, as I've said 4 or 5 times tonight. They sit there because it's a high point. That does nothing. They sit in the truck and they watch cars go by them in both directions. Why are they not stopping and engaging people, saying, as they're heading into if you make a right onto Broad off of 7th Avenue, it's a dead end. You're heading into Broad, you either go out to Normandy Drive, which is a dead end, or Journey's End, which is a dead end. So the only cars go in there should be residents. Why are they not saying to every car coming in there, making a right, are you a resident? If you're not, turn them away. Simple as that. And then again, we're talking about semantics. You asked for us to call the police. I took pictures, sir. I showed you the evidence. I showed the police chief the evidence, and nothing was done. Was that business ever contacted? Was a summons or a citation ever issued? Clearly, something was not proper there. You could see what they're doing. It was I sent 4 pictures, and I never received a response. And again, you could see clearly that the wake that they were making was 3 feet up on the truck. It was almost covering their sign, and it's creating, think about it, it's creating damage to their properties. So when the police are called next time, and you could please pass this on to the police chief, and I would love to, he can call me directly. Do not have them sit at the corner and just sit in their truck and not engage people. They need to get out of the truck or roll down the window, park in the middle of the street. And if a car's trying to get by them, make sure they're a resident and they belong in there. If not, turn them around. It's no different than a crime scene. If there was an accident and the road was closed, the same thing. And one last comment. The trucks, a lot of the trucks that are coming in are going down to Normandy Drive or Ellison Drive, which are higher elevation, so the road is not flooded there. Well, maybe if you turned away the workers going in there, the residents of Normandy Drive and Ellison would get upset enough that they maybe then be on this call, something like this, complaining to the town. Their properties aren't being damaged on a daily basis by the flooding. Yes, they need to drive through the flooding to get home if they're in town, but they're not experiencing the daily damage from the wakes and the water being pushed up against our property. So again, the consequence is maybe their project where they have all these workers coming in is delayed for a couple days because their workers can't get to their home. Maybe that's the consequence, and they'll get pissed off enough where then they'll start making comments to the town. But we're at ground zero. The people on this call right now that you're hearing from tonight, we're all at ground zero. and we're just really fed up. This has been going on multiple years. I've been a resident there for 21 years, and nothing has improved. It's only gotten worse. So again, please have the police engage the residents, and that may help us solve part of the problem.
Thank you. Okay, hearing no one else, close public comment. We are on to council comments. Ms. Bergen?
Nothing for me this evening, thank you.
Mayor Ducey?
Oh, thank you. I spoke at the beginning of the meeting. Appreciate it. Happy New Year, everybody.
Who's on tonight? Mr. Keneally?
Happy New Year to everyone. Nothing else to say. Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
I have nothing, thank you.
Madam Secretary?
I have nothing, thank you.
Councilwoman Zapsik?
Thank you, Council President. I have nothing this evening other than to wish our residents Happy New Year. Remind them to stay safe, wear your mask, watch your distance, wash your hands. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Minikino?
No, I have nothing tonight, thank you.
Councilwoman DeYoung?
I just would like to congratulate Council President Crate again, along with Vice President Halloran, and Happy New Year to all.
Thank you. Councilman Mumolo?
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Councilwoman Pontorero?
Thank you, Madam President. I also want to congratulate you, Madam President, on your presidency for this upcoming year, and also for Vice President Halloran. I think I would be remiss if, while I was on the call this year listening to Mr. Halloran swearing in, if I wasn't in my mind picturing his late wife, Mary Jane, holding the Bible for him when he was originally sworn in. She is sorely missed, as are many of the residents of Brick that we lost in this past year due to the effects of COVID or other diseases or issues. In this upcoming year of hope, I don't want to lose sight of the fact that we have to continue our efforts to keep ourselves and our neighbors safe, and to remember all the lives that have been lost in this past year, and continue to pray for their families. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Vice President Halloran? You're muted.
You're muted, Art.
Art, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me? Sorry.
Hey, now.
Thank you for those kind words, Councilwoman Pontorero. I appreciate that. And congratulations to Council President for being reelected. Very good. There is a site that if you, I'm not sure what this site does, to be honest, other than register you for a vaccine shot. It's called, the site is covidvaccine.nj.gov. I went on it today and I registered. I'm hoping they call me and tell me I'm next. But
you're in the queue.
To register to get on to the online, I guess, to get your shot, your vaccine shot. So if you want to look it up, look it up. It's covidvaccine.nj.gov. Thank you.
Thank you,
Council President.
I don't have much to say, just congratulations to Council Vice President Halloran, my sidekick. Glad we're together again, and I'm looking forward to the Year of Hope. Nothing better than that. And our next scheduled meeting is January 19th at 7 p.m. We hope to see you there, or hear you there, I should say. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Welcome to 2021. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned.